Welcome into the second episode of Know the Player, Tell the Story, hosted by me, Dante Furco. You may know who these players are, but do you know their stories and how they got to where they are now? I'm going to dig deeper and find out more about these athletes and how being a New York State athlete shaped them. Today, I'm joined alongside Casey Rogers of the Nebraska University football team and a Westville High School graduate, a local high school in Syracuse, New York.
All right, so I'm here with Casey Rogers. How are you doing this weekend?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. You have a bye week this week?
Yep, a good week off. We've had 8 straight weeks of football, so it's good to, give our bodies a rest, sit on the couch, watch some football instead of play. But most enjoyably, just unplug from the game for a little bit, get a mental break and let your body rest up. So yeah, it's been a good week so far.
Good. All right, so let's take it back to the beginning of your whole sports career. And you played many sports growing up. What sports did you play?
I was lacrosse, football, and then later on in high school, hockey. But I started out wrestling when I was a young kid. Then I had a tooth injury where I knocked out my tooth and then wasn't allowed to wrestle for a year. Then I picked up basketball in the meantime while I recovered from that, and then I never went back to wrestling. So quite a bit, always competing somewhere. Felt like going up, but yeah, lots of sports.
So you never played baseball?
Not competitively, but actually I played one game. I think you were there.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth League back in high school. My buddy, your team, needed a player, and I said I would play, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned real quick that with metal bats the ball go farther than with wooden bats, because I thought I would be cool and use a wooden bat and the ball went nowhere. So
I feel like I vaguely remember you getting a hit that game. Either a hit or you made like a diving catch. Everybody was like, wow.
No, I got a hit. The diving catch you're thinking about was like the ball. I was playing like right field or something, and the ball was completely on the other side of the field, and I started running towards it and fell and face planted. Yeah, it was bad, but
that's okay. You're not a baseball player anyway.
Nah, but A for effort.
Yeah. What sport did you first come to love?
I would say lacrosse, because it kind of was in my blood with my dad being a lacrosse coach when I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I did, everything my family, all my family's time revolved around lacrosse season. And then later on, when he got the job at Syracuse University, it kind of really magnified that, because I was becoming more and more interested in sports growing up. So being around a locker room full of Division I lacrosse players, and just being around a school with Division I programs, that kind of turned me into who I am today, and why I love sports as much as I do. But yeah, no, lacrosse, I was pretty much, when I was born, the lacrosse stick was put in my hand, and it only went up from there.
I guess that kind of answers my next question, is how you got pushed into that sport. So you would say with your dad?
Oh yeah, my dad was a 3-sport athlete too. So it was kind of known that I was it was kind of known that when I was born I was going to be into sports, just because everything revolved around sports in my family. My mom played soccer. My sister was becoming an athlete when I was born too. So there was a lot of emphasis on sports in my household, and but yeah, no, I was definitely born into the game of lacrosse with my dad being a coach at the time, a Division III program, and then later on in life becoming a Division I defensive coordinator. So yeah.
Nice. So growing up, with sports or without sports, what was your dream? Like, what did you want to do when you were older?
Well, I think as a young athlete, everyone's kind of goal is to make it to a pro level, whether you're MLB or NFL, NBA. That's kind of what we do as kids, right? We go outside, we're shooting hoops and we're saying Dante Furco for the win, 3, 2, 1, and we're pretending like we're who we see on TV. And for me, it was whatever sport I was really playing, because at a young age, I really didn't know what sport I liked better. I started football in kindergarten, played lacrosse basically my whole life. And then when I later on played hockey, I mean, I caught a big bug for hockey. I loved the atmosphere of what hockey brought, the competitiveness and the physicality hockey had. I mean, I knew I wasn't really good enough to go pro, but who sometimes who cares? But yeah, no, just to go pro. I mean, I think that's still my goal today is to make it to the highest level. And once you kind of you have steps to do that, and once you get to one step, you can kind of see the door to the next step, and it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, I'd say my main goal, even from when I was little, and I kind of remember with the first day of playing football. Actually, before I was actually on the team, my sister played football. And for my old school, I went to a school in Cortland, New York. Was in the Cortland School District, and they have a ton of different elementary schools scattered around their district, and it's whatever one you live closer to, you go to, and each school has a football team. I think it's third and fourth, fifth and sixth grade teams, and my sister was on the fifth and sixth grade team. And we went to her practice, and the third and fourth grade team needed players, and I was bigger than all of them. So they were like, yeah, you can play. And I just remember going to those games after watching college football on the weekend with my mom or my dad, and just being like, man, I want to be like them. I want to do that. And then going out on the field and trying to do what they're doing. And then same thing with the NFL. So yeah, I mean, my ultimate goal, go back to your question, my ultimate goal is to make it to the pros. Sometimes life has other plans, and I'm prepared for that too. But until life says no mas, then I'm gonna keep going for that goal to be a professional athlete.
Good. So you mentioned it multiple times. You were a 3-sport athlete going through school. You played hockey, football, and lacrosse. Was it tough to handle all 3 of those sports while paying full attention to them and kind of giving them your all, knowing you want to play at a college level?
No, because that's all I knew. That's kind of like, it's like telling or I don't even know how to compare this to. It's like, it's really easy to say it's all I knew. Like I never focused on one sport more than the other than probably I played lacrosse a little bit more during the year because there's indoor lacrosse, especially where we're from, upstate New York. There's lacrosse everywhere, so it's more accessible during the winter time and stuff like that. But once I got, because I don't know if you remember, I really wasn't committed to play football until I think our senior year, like my senior season. I think you were a junior. I really didn't know I was playing football until probably halfway through football season. Before that, it was all lacrosse. So I committed to Syracuse pretty early. So I kind of knew or thought I had an idea of what my plans were. So I really didn't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? So I always in my mind, I was this junior season, this is my second to last football season, but I really didn't care because it was I knew no matter what I did, I was going to end up playing sports in college. So might as well focus on all of them the same. You know what I mean? So, and even if I was playing lacrosse in college, it doesn't mean I can't focus as much as I can on football, because you never know what could happen in football. Because I remember talking to my dad when I committed, and I was like, if I could go big time football, I would do it over Syracuse lacrosse, because that ultimately was my dream. I think I had more of a dream to play football, I subconsciously I had more of a dream to play football. I think I like football a little bit more than lacrosse, but lacrosse was just what was in front of me and what was most accessible. So that's kind of what happened, what I did. But I told him, I was like, if I ever get a chance to play Division I football, I'm definitely doing it, and over lacrosse. And I mean, did I really believe that would happen? And not really, because of kind of where we're from, and no one really goes big time football where we're from. It's kind of rare, and recruiting is not that hot where we're from, unfortunately. So I kind of just it would be nice to play Division I football, but I think I'm gonna end up playing lacrosse. but I knew that if I could, get the film and, send it to someone, who knows. So while football season was going on, I would focus my hardest on football because you never knew really what could happen, who could see your games,
Mhm.
and my dad emphasized that a lot. Like, you never know who's watching. Like just for an example, when we had Coach Jamie Casulo, his brother Rocco Casulo was a big time coach down in Florida, right? Well,
Mhm.
he came to one of our games and watched it, and I had a pretty good game, and he was like, yeah, he could play big time football, he could play Division I football, the connections he had, he had the Bosa brothers at the time. Like Nick Bosa was still in high school when he came, like that was his player.
Mhm.
So like obviously that guy had connections. So like you never know who's watching anytime. Like even in hockey, like I knew I wasn't gonna play big time hockey. Like I started hockey so late, I was kind of in it just for fun. Like that was my fun sport, whatever. But like you never know. You lay a big hit, and there's a offensive line coach somewhere in the stands watching you hit someone. He might be a good football, and then they look
Yeah.
into it. You never know. So that's kind of what was on my mind. Is who's never know who's watching.
Mhm.
You got to give it your all the time. But yeah.
Yeah. You touched on it a little bit. You committed to Syracuse to play lacrosse
Yep.
earlier on in high school. When did you commit, and what made you choose Syracuse?
I committed, I think, going into my sophomore year.
Mhm.
Maybe even going into my junior year. I don't know. I'll find out. But it was early in high school.
Mhm.
Um, and I kind of did it because I wanted to play for my dad really bad, and Syracuse, like I kind of said early in the podcast, but Syracuse, I grew up basically on their campus, so it's really all I knew. I fell in love with Syracuse lacrosse. I fell in love
Mhm.
with Syracuse sports because I was a little kid wandering around their facilities, in their locker rooms, like hanging out with their players all the time. Like idolized them every day. Going to my dad's practices, I got to play catch with. Just I was bred basically at
Mhm.
that point to be a Syracuse athlete. I knew everything about the school. I knew everything there was to know about the lacrosse program, and it's just kind of what everyone. It's kind of what I. It made sense, right? And I
Mhm.
was doing pretty good. I was a pretty good lacrosse player. My dad was the coach. Like, loved Syracuse lacrosse. Born and raised, like, bred basically to be, a Syracuse lacrosse player. So I decided, at that time I was going to a lot of recruiting camps for lacrosse, and a bunch of kids were committed, and I wasn't. Um, it wasn't like a bad look, but it just like when is Casey going to commit before it's too
Mhm.
late? Because at the time, freshmen and sophomores were like committing to play lacrosse. It was the craziest thing ever before they made a rule change. Um, and so I just made a decision. I'll commit. Um, it was the most casual thing ever. I think my dad was sitting on the couch, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to commit. By the way, I'm coming to Syracuse." And he's like, he's like,
He already knew.
yeah. I mean, he didn't really say. He was like, "Yeah, okay, let's just make it official, whatever." Um, but the one thing was, when we had this conversation with my mom and my dad, it was like, it's not like it's just a verbal commitment. Like you don't
Mhm.
have to go there, because that goal of playing big time football was always there. And because Coach Casulo always told me when he was here, like, you're a football player. You're a football player. You're gonna be a football
Mhm.
player. And I was like, nah. Like I remember when it was like me, Richie Easterly, and we both had hamstring injuries, and we were sitting in the cold tub after practice one day, and Coach Casulo came up, and he's like, "So, like, when are you gonna put a highlight film together? Because like you're gonna play football in college." And Richie was like, "Nah, he's gonna play lacrosse. Like he ain't a football player." And Coach Castillo was like, "No, he's a football player, believe me." And that kind of always stuck with me, because I was like, well, he coached college football. He knows like what it's all about. His Kim's from a family. Like his dad was a big time.
Yeah.
His dad was all over the place coaching, and on so many different levels. So he kind of knows like what he's talking about. So, and really,
Mhm.
no one ever told me that. Like at that point in my life, no one ever said like you're a Division I football player. So I was like, oh, maybe I am. Well, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I would say I committed to Syracuse because it's what I knew, it's what I loved. My dad was there. I wanted to play for my dad, and
Mhm.
I lived on campus when my dad moved. He literally moved on to South Campus, like, and there's a little housing development right there. So, was around campus every day. Loved it. Yeah, even ate at the dining halls because my dad really didn't cook. So he gave me a dining hall card and I would wander up there. And I attended basketball games and soccer games on the regular after school. I'd go home. And if there was a game, like didn't have homework or whatever, I would just get a ticket from my dad and go watch a game for the night, walk back home, go to sleep, go to school the next day. So I was just kind of in college before I was in college and couldn't picture myself anywhere else. And so I committed there, and then the rest was history. But
Yeah. You mentioned your senior year, but when did you start to really consider football as your career and not lacrosse? Was there a specific moment or game or kind of like week where you were like, I could take this seriously and play college football?
yeah, I don't think there was a specific moment. I think it all kind of built up to my senior year. We kind of before the season, maybe the summer going into that year, I attended a camp at Syracuse, or I did something and caught the eyes of coaches. I didn't really think anything of it because I was like, yeah, I'm not really going to play football in college, but I think I just did the camp for fun. I don't even know but like, my dad was like, well, this is a serious opportunity. Like if you're catching the eyes of these guys, like you can do a lot. So, I think we talked to the Syracuse coaches, football coaches, before our first game of the year. I know you're not very fond of that first game of our senior year. Was that the game you hurt your knee on the first?
Oh yeah.
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 Marcellus in the Carrier Dome. But before that game, we talked to the Syracuse coaches and we're like, yeah, like starting to swing into football a little bit. I'm already committed to Syracuse, so I would be either free or if y'all would put me on scholarship, like I'd be. And I plan on playing lacrosse. I didn't really know how they felt about two-sport athlete, but so we talked to them. That game, I still remember a lot about that game. That was really fun. Being in the dome, playing our rival. Had a pretty good game. Sent my film in. They liked it. They wanted to see more, so I was like, all right. So I was already putting together a film from the season, and I decided my dad was like, why don't we just send it to a couple other big time schools and see what they say? Like what's the worst they say is like no or whatever. So so we sent it to Michigan State and Wisconsin and probably a couple other schools, but I remember they were the first ones to get back. And they were like, we're definitely interested. We want you to come on a visit right away. So I did that. And that was kind of the turning point of like, it wasn't like, oh, I decommitted from Syracuse on the spot, but it was like, okay, now I have or now like these schools are starting to bite. If it ends up not working out, I still have the option to go to Syracuse and play like a Division I sport, like high Division I lacrosse, which was sick. But now I can kind of put that aside for a minute and start like going after these big time college football players, which at the time no one really thought I was going to be able to do anyways. So like that kind of put motivation in me. Like no one's gonna, like people were like, dude, what are you even like? Why are you even doing this? Like you're not going to, like, you realize you gotta like be recruited as like a junior to play at these schools, right? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like I'm just gonna let this one go. Like see what happens. So I took these crazy visits to like Wisconsin and Michigan State. And once I got to, I remember like going to Michigan State. I can't remember which one I did first, but like going there and like seeing like the atmosphere and the environment, I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, this is lit. I'm going to do whatever I can to go to one of these type of schools. So yeah, I mean, that was during football season. So like, I came back and I was like, all right, well, I just got to make this. Like literally, I was like, I got the rest of this year to put the best film I can on tape. And as you know, that year was like pretty rough for our team. So it was tough, but I think we started with a small school anyway. It started with 30 kids on the team. 15 of them got hurt last game of the year. We were playing with JV kids. Yeah, that was real fun. But I just had to do the best I could to put film on tape. And so that's what I did. I had a pretty as good as a senior season, I guess, as I could with the injuries that our team had and the obstacles that we had to face. And, sent my film in, and then it was really like, I knew I was going to go to prep school. So like, so I committed, I guess I didn't commit, but like I applied and decided to go to a prep school. I think it was like January of my senior year. So like I wasn't really officially going to a prep school yet, but I kind of knew like I can go to a prep school, or I'm applying to one. And if like another school offered, like I could have just gone to that school instead of going to prep school. But like that was also another security thing that I had was, all right, there's no pressure of like finding a team, because one, I have a prep school to go to, and two, I could go to play lacrosse at Syracuse. So like had a lot of checks and balance. I had a lot of like safety nets really in line, just in case it didn't work out. But so like that year, after my senior season, put my highlight film together, it was kind of like, all right, let's see who offers, let's see like what the interest level is, like let's see what's going on with this. So out of that, I had until January to figure out, to decide if I wanted to go to prep school or not. And so I think I literally just waited until the last day to tell the prep school that I'm coming, because Western Michigan had me up on an official visit, and they offered me there. But like Western Michigan at the time was really good. They just came off like an 11-1 season, maybe 10-1 season. They were in a Cotton Bowl. Yeah, it's a MAC school, it's not Power 5 or whatever, but I just kind of had dreams and aspirations to go bigger. And with the schools that were like looking at me in the background, like I just kind of was like, if I can get this offer now out of high school, I can get it again when I'm at prep school. So I decided to tell Western Michigan, and tell Western Michigan that I wasn't going to go and that I was going to do a prep year. And then that summer, like after that year, so that bought me some time. Obviously I reclassed. So like I got put in a grade below me. And then that summer, just kind of, that's kind of when I decommitted from lacrosse, was when I was going prep school, because like, actually really still didn't really decommit yet, because it was still, the option was still there. But, got the prep school, like that summer before prep school, I went to like every camp you could think of. Like I was down in Alabama, I was at Ohio State, I was in Penn State, I was in Colorado, I was in satellite camps for California. I was just like everywhere, and had a really good summer at those camps. Caught the eyes of a lot of the coaches that were recruiting me. Had one-on-one meetings with Saban, Coach Myers, Coach Franklin, McIntyre from Colorado. Just performed good enough at those camps to really catch the eye, have them watch me in prep. And prep season was good, and then I was nervous during prep year because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, so I had all these eyes on me. Knew I had to play good. At that point I was gambling. Like, all right, I came to prep school to get an offer to play Division I football. Like, if I don't get one, like it'd be I would be like, feel so failed. Like I was so close that now I would be really upset, not upset, but I'd be really bummed out if I didn't play college football. Not that like playing Division I lacrosse is bad, but at all. But like I had, at this point, like my dream of playing Division I football was going full speed. The whole season went by. I had a really good season. The whole season went by, not one offer, and I was like, no way. This, like, I'm not gonna get one. Like, this sucks. Me and my roommate were in the same boat. But I didn't realize that during the college football season, like college coaches don't really recruit. Like, they're worried about their own season. So I was like, not knowing that. And then the day I decommitted from Syracuse was the day I got my first Division I offer. So that's how that went.
What colleges were probably the most active in recruiting you?
Well, the first offer I got was to Vanderbilt, and like that, I remember that. Like, yes, I was literally getting dressed for hockey practice at prep school, and like I got a phone call, and the reception at the school was terrible. So there was one spot where I got 3 bars, which was like the best reception you could get at this school. So I like had to take off my skates and I ran across campus to go to this one spot, and had the conversation with the coach. They offered, and I literally just didn't show back up to hockey practice. I'm not, sorry. I just said, screw it. I'm not going back. I'm going to call my dad and let him know. Cause like at that point it was like, all right, now I don't have to worry about any, like, now I don't got to worry about it anymore. Like I'm going to college. Well, not that I wasn't going to be able to go to college for free at Syracuse with my dad working there, but like now I don't got to worry about, paying for college to play football. And I got one. So like, that's all I was asking for, was this one opportunity. And then after that, it was just like, so I was stressed out because I didn't have any offers at one point. And then it got to a point where I was stressed out because I had so many that I didn't know what the hell was going on. And like in recruiting, when you get one, they basically, all you need is one offer from a school like that. And then all of a sudden they just all like pile on. And the water got so murky. Like I had no, like, I was like, oh, like when the first 3, I was like, oh yeah, like I like this one more than this one, more than this one. But then like the next week you'd get like 6 more on top of that. And you'd be like, you'd just be like, oh my God, like now I don't even remember what school's which and what coach goes to what school. Like, but the most active was probably at first it was Vanderbilt. So Syracuse really, which sort of bothered me. And now that my dad doesn't really work there, I can say it really pissed me off, because it was like, you got a kid who like wants to play for you guys, you know what I mean? And like is a homegrown kid too, like knows the streets of Syracuse, like literally grew up there in the facilities, like really wants to be a part of it. But they were like, they actually told one of our high school coaches that they didn't want to recruit upstate area. Like they don't want to recruit New York football or like give out scholarships to New York kids, which at that point, when I heard that, I was like, all right, bet. So I'll go somewhere and make you guys look dumb. So like, that's what it was. But it was like, yeah, that was BS. They didn't really give it. They didn't care. They recruited me a little bit, but they were like they acted just like I don't know. They just didn't act that interested. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm not going there for football. Ohio State was a big one. So Ohio State, that was kind of like at the time was my dream school, because I was born in Columbus and grew up Ohio State fan. In my younger years. So like that was big. And then the coolest one, like the one that was like the most out of the blue, but like just like the coolest one I think to me was Alabama. Their tight ends coach was from Buffalo. It's from Buffalo, or their offensive coordinator is now the offensive coordinator at the Bills, Brian Dable. He's from Buffalo, New York. So like he was big in recruiting a kid from upstate New York. So he really like kind of helped me out there a lot. And like when I went on an official there, he kind of made sure like everything was in line for me. And that was kind of the only other, that was like the biggest school recruiting me for tight end. All the other schools were recruiting me for D-line. But that was kind of the coolest. But when Nebraska came around, they obviously kind of took control over my recruiting process. So, but yeah, no, it was a lot. Like a lot of the recruiting is the same. They all kind of say the same thing. They kind of do all the same stuff. It's not like sometimes one school will do like more than the other, but like for me, it was kind of like all the same stuff. So I can't really say one school was acting a little bit more than the other, but it was definitely like a once in a lifetime opportunity to get recruited by like being recruited is stressful, but it's like also like one of the best, coolest things you can have happen. Like these multi-million-dollar programs are like, they want you. They're going to try to impress you. You know, that doesn't really happen that much in life. So like it doesn't even happen in the NFL. Like you get told what school you're going or what program you're going to. So you don't get to pick. So I wish I kind of enjoyed that process a little bit more, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Obviously you chose Nebraska. You're at Nebraska now. What made you like finalize that decision? And why did you choose Nebraska?
Yeah. So I went. So I was actually home for Christmas break from prep school when Coach Dawson, who's our outside linebacker, he's from Massachusetts. I was in his recruiting area. So when I got the phone call, I was at the mall. I was at Destiny in the food court. Um, and I actually in that hour, Indiana and Nebraska both call and offered a scholarship. So at the time, I was like, oh, like Indiana's cool, Nebraska's cool, but like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like being from upstate New York. Let's be honest, we don't know nothing about Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, I know it's a state, I know it's out in the Midwest, but like other than that, like they got good football. I knew nothing about the college. So like when Coach Dawson called, hey, that's a Big Ten school. That's kind of what I was always wanted to go Big Ten. So like that was kind of like what I was looking for. Um, used to be a powerhouse. Like they're coming back. They just got a brand new coach. Like Coach Frost was really hot at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, yeah, that's a good opportunity right there. Like didn't really think much of it. Like, went home that night, told my dad. My dad was like really excited. Um, it was like, yeah, that would be a really good fit for you. Nebraska's a good Big Ten school, good defense. Like, you know, gotta be a big guy to play in those. Um, and so when it came down to taking official visits, I really liked the coaching staff there just by talking to them over the phone. Coach Dawson was
Mm-hmm.
from Massachusetts, so like from my area. So I decided to take an official there, and like, dude, flying out there, I was like, what are we about to land in a cornfield and like have a horse and buggy pick us up or something? Like, I had no idea what to expect. Like, no, I had no, like Lincoln, Nebraska. I was like, dude, what is this gonna be? Like, I was like, I was honestly like, I was like, this is gonna be like either really cool or like I'm gonna be like, what the hell? So we land in Lincoln Airport is pretty small. It's smaller than I think there's like 4 gates at the Lincoln Airport. It's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was like really my first impression of Nebraska was the airport. And I was like, there's 4 gates here. So I was like, it's not very big. And Syracuse Airport by no means is big. And so I was like, this is a lot smaller than that. And well, anyway, so we get in the car and we're driving, and also I see the city of Lincoln, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is pretty big. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is not a small town little thing like I thought it was gonna be. And then we drive up next to the stadium, and like this thing is a house, dude. This thing's huge. And I was like, oh my God, like this is the biggest stadium I think I've ever seen, like when I got out here. Um, but anyways, when I was out here, like the coaching staff was like I clicked through the coaching staff really fast. Coach Frost, like to this day, still is a player's coach. Like is like all about just being really personal with these guys. And
Mm-hmm.
what really like I love the visit there. It was really fun. Like it reminded me of Syracuse. Like that was kind of the hard part was like when I was visiting the schools, I grew up on campus at Syracuse, so I compared everything to Syracuse University. So like
Mm-hmm.
if something like wasn't like Syracuse, I didn't like it. Like, and I had to get my head out of that because it was like nothing's gonna be like why would I judge a school based off how it is like why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
But like the city itself, like Lincoln, Nebraska has it's a lot like Syracuse, like the city of Syracuse. Um, it's newer, it's probably a little bit cleaner, but like it's the vibes and like the size of it reminded me a lot of home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, there's a lot, there's believe it or not, there's lots to do out here. Like the Midwest is exploding right now. Like there's people are moving out of big cities, coming to the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of opportunity in Lincoln, Nebraska with businesses and stuff like that. Um, the school was good, like everything was good. But that's kind of like a lot of schools you go to, you like it, whatever. But what really sealed the deal was after my official visit, we met with Coach Frost on a Sunday at like 5 o'clock. Before you go to the airport, it's like the last thing you do on official visits is you talk to the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I went. So at like 6 o'clock, I left the stadium to go to the airport to fly back to Connecticut. I got back to Connecticut at like 1 in the morning, like maybe 1 or 12 or 1 in the morning. I text my coach. I was like, "Hey, just got back." I got back to my dorm room. I was like, "Hey, just got back. Do you mind if I sleep in tomorrow?" Like, it's like official visits. Like the thing is, like you are official visits are like really long days, and you really don't sleep that much because you go out with the players at night and they try to like take you out to all the fun places, and you don't really get much sleep, and you eat a lot, so you're just exhausted at the end of these weekends. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep in, coach. Like he's like, and he was fine with it. He's like, don't worry about it. Just like go to your like half day classes. Like you wake up at like 10 and go to the classes from there. And so that's what I was planning on doing, but I got a text at like 7 a.m. and he called me, and I was like, what? Like, you told me I didn't have to go to class. I answered the phone. He's like, Casey, like, get dressed and come down to the facility. You have visitors. So I was like, okay. I was like, it's probably some coaches, whatever. So I get dressed and I walk down there, and I walk in, and it's Coach Frost, it's Coach Chenander, and Coach Dawson. The head coach, defensive coordinator, and the D-line coach are all in the office. And I'm like, did I forget something? Like, why are you guys here? Like, I just saw you guys like literally less than 10 hours ago. And they were like, we just wanted to like follow up your recruiting visit. We hope you really liked it. We really like, and I was like, I literally at that moment, I was like, I'm coming. I'm committed. It's like, that's crazy that you guys would, like, the fact that you guys would get on a plane and fly here right after I just saw you to make sure like I had a good visit. I was like, I want to play for you guys. Like, you guys are the type of coaches that I want to play for. Like Nebraska, like I got some learning to do, but like Nebraska is everything I've ever wanted in a school. So done deal. And then they actually ended up flying to Syracuse to have dinner with my parents right after that. So yeah, just a special group of coaches. They're really hard. Like, they're the hardest working coach. Like right now, like it stinks because like the record doesn't show it, but like these coaches have changed. Like from when I first got here to like what the culture of the old coaches were here to what we're going through now is like night and day, and that's all because of Coach Frost. Like he changed the culture. And like, if you look, I mean, you gotta look at like the like small stuff right now. Like our defense is playing out of their mind. So like Coach Chenander has changed. Like we're going head to head with these top 10, top 25 teams every week, except last week we laid an egg against Minnesota, but in the first half at least. But like our defense is where it needs to be. Coach Frost is just like, he's changed a lot about this program, and he's played here. He won national championship here, so he knows what it's like. He knows what it's got to be like. So like he knows the ropes. So like that's why like I was like, I'm gonna follow this guy to the end. You know what I mean? Like this guy knows what he's talking about. So
yeah,
that was kind of that's kind of why I chose Nebraska. It was random. I never thought in a million years that I would be going. Like if you were to stop me like first day of football practice senior year, and be like, yo, you're going to Nebraska in a year, and I would have been like, Dante, like what? Who the hell? Nah, but I'm so happy I did it, and it's been a journey so far, but it's not. We got 2 more years of it, so it'll be fun.
That's awesome, and that's awesome that like they showed that they wanted you. They flew to you.
And like that was kind of the one thing. It was like a lot of schools, they say like, oh, we really want you, like you'd make a big impact here, blah 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 blah. Like a lot of like fake stuff, right? Well, Nebraska said that, but then they showed it. Like they came to my school right after, like I've never heard of that. I don't even know if it was just a coincidence. Like maybe that was their recruiting trail, probably, but I don't even care. Like the fact that they were at my school the day after my official visit to make sure that I had a good time and liked it, like that. I don't care, like that. And then the fun part was right after they left, another school came in, and like I was already committed, and they were like trying to sell me, and I was like, they were trying to like talk bad about Nebraska. I was like, yeah, I'm committed there, and they were like, oh, and then they just left. I was like, that's how that goes. Like, see, like they talk like they want you until like you're no good to them no more, and then they don't care.
That's crazy. So fast forward to now. You opened up your season with an injury. What was your injury, and how are you feeling now?
So I 2 weeks before our first game, we were in fall camp. I dislocated my knee. Weirdest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was nothing more than just like a one-on-one pass rush drill. I planted wrong. I planted and then kind of got hit at the same time. and I like I went too far over the quarterback, so I went to stop, plant, and come back to like retrace to try to get underneath the offensive lineman. And like I thought I like went knee to knee with him. I thought I went like I got locked up in his knee brace or something like that. I didn't know what happened, and I fell. And when I fell, my foot stayed in the ground, and I fell back. I fell back onto my foot, so my foot was like literally on my back, and I felt some weird movement and like rolled over and like grabbed the pants I was wearing and pull them up and saw that my kneecap was not where it should be. And I was like, oh shoot. Like, I was like, that's not good. And it just was really uncomfortable. It didn't hurt, but like they came in, they popped it back in. I was able to get up and walk right away. And then like 15 minutes later, the thing just swelled up, blew up. 3 to 5 weeks, I was in serious rehab. Just like luckily I didn't need surgery, didn't tear anything else. There's a small ligament called your medial patellofemoral ligament. It basically prevents your kneecap from doing what mine did. So it's on the inside of your knee, it's on the outside of your joint. So it's on the inside of your knee. It holds your kneecap from going out. That obviously got obliterated. So that's the only thing that is messed up. But yeah, I'm feeling good. It's just being out. It was like 5 to 6 weeks. I think anyone who's out that long, while everyone else is practicing, you kind of come back really slow, especially with a knee injury. Kind of had to relearn the pace of football again. And then it also sucked because I didn't even know, but like I wasn't even like, there was some times where I wasn't even using my knee, like my leg on plays. Like when I first came back, I was so like, I didn't even think about it. But like, if you would have watched the film, like there's times I'm trying to take on double teams without even my foot on the ground. Like my I was trying to protect myself without even knowing it. So I had to learn to break that. And then I also had to learn how to play with a fat ass knee brace. Like this thing's huge, dude. It's like a regular offensive lineman knee brace, but it has like an attachment on it. So it like pushes your patella in so like it won't pop out. And it's just the biggest pain. It was hard to move in it at first. And then you kind of have to learn to get used to it. And then now I'm just kind of just trying to get back to where I was before. You know, it's stunk because I was doing really, really good before I got hurt. And you know, I was in a really good place. I mean, they didn't put out starting lineups yet, but I was pretty. I could have been up there. Who knows? They didn't announce it, but I had a good feeling that I would have been on that list. And you know, you get hurt and you come back and you're almost at like a 3 again, like a third string. It's not anything. It's not because I was playing bad, but in your mind, it's because you're just like, what the heck? Like I go from basically being a starter to I'm not even getting reps. You know what I mean? And it's all of it's a mental thing, man. It's like that was kind of the hard part. Is like I got to get over the fact that I'm not like playing right away, and I got to learn how to do all this again. And it's just slowly but surely everything started coming back. You know, your speed of the game, you get used to it again. You got to get used to your technique, and you got to learn some new techniques because you know your knee's not the same. But I'm feeling really good now. I'm starting to get back in the swing of things, like kind of where I was before I was hurt. You know, it's just kind of my coach has done a good job building me back up to the reps that I was looking for. But it to me, I thought I was going to come right back and be who I was before I got hurt, and that's just not the case. Like that's just not how that works. So it was a long battle of trying to get everything, all my like ducks in a row again, like was technique and speed of the game. And then also like you forget, like you try, like I was trying my best to stay like mentally involved in the game. So like I'm good with all the plays and stuff like that, but like, you know, offensive scheming and stuff like that, like it's like what I was trying to like really focus on. But like it's also different being in a seat, like in a meeting, and being on the defensive line like during a play and trying to pick it all out. So I had to do all that again, and it was a long process. But you know, now things are starting to get good, and we have a bye week this week, so anytime I can get some rest on it, it's good. It's just you know, right now just kind of treat it as much as I can, you know, rest it. It's We might have to get it like some more stuff fixed on it later on after this year, but I don't think I will. So it's getting there. It's been, I think, 8 weeks now, and it's feeling pretty normal. It doesn't hurt anything, so it's all good.
That's good. So let's take it off the field. You opened up this offseason, the NCAA opened up NIL for college athletes. How big is that for athletes, and how has it affected you?
It's huge, man. It's awesome. It's fun, and especially in Nebraska. We're the only sport in the state, like only Division I sport, like there's no pro sport. So all the focus is on Nebraska football and Nebraska sports in general. It's impacted me financially a lot. It's helped a ton. Before, you get a scholarship stipend, and that's kind of all you get. But you don't get to keep any of it because you're paying rent and you're paying your bills and stuff. Now with NIL, you can get services and you can get more money just off your name. You know what I mean? So it's nice. It's huge. Like I said, it's huge in Nebraska. There's a ton of businesses that want to work with us. My first deal was with Honest Abe's. It's like a burger place out here. I'm trying to think of like what it would be equivalent to in New York. We really don't have one. Think about like Five Guys if it was like 4 restaurants, right? If it was like a local franchise, it's pretty similar to like a Five Guys. But yeah, no, it was like the day NIL was started. I was eating there with my buddy, and I was like, "Hey, let's just talk to the manager, see what they want to do, see if they want to do it or not." So we talked. I was like, "Hey, like we're now able to use our name, image, and likeness to do promotions with brands and businesses." And she's like, "Oh, I'll talk to my marketing director. We'll get back to you." Like the next day, they send us an email. "Oh, we definitely want to do it." And I was like, "All right, bet." So we'll do it. Then they send us this contract, and like, dude, me and my buddy had like no idea like what like the prices were, right? Like what like the rate, like what, like no one really knew. Like you don't know what your worth is until until you get your first offer or whatever like that. So like that was really fun, and like so now we have like a deal with them. Financially, it's really helpful for me and him and I, and it's fun too. We each get a flavor of French fries at this restaurant, and whoever sells more it's basically a contest who can sell more of their fries. I'm winning by the last time it was like over 150. So the Bayou beatdown fries are like Cajun gravy. I don't know. They're really good. So if you're from Lincoln, Nebraska, and you're watching this podcast, go to On Stage, get my fries.
That's cool. I do have any other like partnerships, sponsorships?
So yeah. So I got 2 dogs. Actually, one of my dogs' name is Cuse after Syracuse. They're both. I got a dog trainer that wanted to work with me. So that's kind of like a service I get. He doesn't really pay. I don't really ask him to pay. Like it's not that big of a deal. We're kind of buddies with him anyways. So it's like you just give me your service and I'll promote your brand or whatever. So that one's kind of cool. So we get some dog training in a lot. And then they're like also spontaneous too. So like the podcast Busting with the Boys.
I think it rings a bell.
It's a Barstool podcast.
Yes.
They're one of their guys on that is from Nebraska, went to play football here. So we got a deal, came across we have an app called Open Doors that like if businesses want to reach us, they go through that. So we got a deal through there. It was like $25 to promote a tweet. So like it's like little stuff like that, and then there's like the big one, and then of course if you're like QB1, like dude, like they're getting like we're getting to a point where like there's like car dealerships working with us now, and it's like it's about to get a lot bigger. It's also like with me, like I also got hurt, so like no, I mean let's be honest, like no one really wants to sign a deal with someone who's not playing that much and who's hurt. So it's been kind of slow for me, but I've seen some buddies get some pretty cool deals. A couple of my boys got cars, so like that's pretty cool.
Wow.
There's like car dealerships want to give it, like the quarterback got a truck. A D lineman, all the captains got trucks too. So yeah, it's it's getting bigger and bigger. You know, like the deals are starting to become more and more rewarding. So it's pretty cool.
What I've also seen, and I think this is a cool ability that colleges and teams will be able to do now, is that businesses will pay for like full scholarships for say like walk-ons. Does that happen for you guys?
Not yet, but I mean, I can't imagine it's not going to. We're kind of walk on you at Nebraska. Like I think we have the most probably walk-ons out of any team in the country. And we're kind of known for our walk-on program. I don't know if you looked up Nebraska football walk-ons, there's a ton of them. But I guarantee that will happen. I saw that happen at Boise State or BYU, right?
Yes, I think that's where I saw it.
Yeah. That's sick because like I got some buddies who are walk-ons and like that would be huge. I mean, they could be. I mean, it takes a lot of pressure off your shoulders. You don't got to worry about paying for school anymore. That's like, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities other than just making money in NIL. Like we got a guy who's doing a lot of NIL stuff, but he's like, it's all charity and like working with underprivileged kids. So like he's using his name, image, and likeliness to get money for like kids, which I think is really cool, and it shows like what he really cares about. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's cool to make some bucks on the side, but like at the end of the day, like if I think that would be more rewarding is like seeing how your name, image, and likeliness can affect others too. That's pretty neat. I think that's really cool. But yeah, like businesses giving out scholarships, I see that in the future. I mean, like, think about like the exposure like a brand would get from that. Like, think about like here we got Dinosaur Barbecue. If they gave out 5 scholarships to 5 walk-ons at Syracuse, it would be huge. Like every newspaper would be reporting on it. It would probably be all over the state because there's really not that many college football teams in the state of New York. And Dinosaur Barbecues in Buffalo, Rochester, and probably Albany. Like that's huge. Like that's what brands want, right? Like they want that feel good. Like we did a good deed. Now come meet at our place. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's just like I'm in an ad PR. I take some ad PR classes. So like I see the advertising part of it and like the PR part, and it's just like a gold mine for businesses. It really is, and it's a gold mine for student athletes as well because we're benefiting off of it as well. So
you actually bring up a good point with the charities because I remember I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. Trevor Lawrence started I don't remember if it was a GoFundMe or a fundraiser, but he got shut down. Because he was getting donations because of his name. So that's something I think that's actually a great point you bring up that can benefit the NIL.
Like, you get a family in Lincoln, Nebraska that, you know, either had some tragic accident happen to them or whatever. We can have our quarterback put up a thing, and everyone in the state, he has 50,000 followers from the state of Nebraska. Like everyone's going to see that. And the thing about like Nebraskans is like everyone out here is like super nice, like OD nice. Like sometimes it's like weirdly nice. Like you're like, when I first got out here, like you're driving on the road and people are just like waving. They're like this. And I was like, what am I like? What are they trying to flag me down? Like what's going on? Why are they doing that? And then I was like, I'm used to New York. Like if you do one thing wrong on the road, you get 5 horns and a middle finger. You know what I mean? They take care of each other out here. So like that would be a huge opportunity to do that. And like, I mean, even Trevor Lawrence, like the name Trevor Lawrence has, like, you know how much money he could have raised, like for what he's not even getting the money. Like why would the NCAA be worried about that? So like now that opens so many doors. Like NIL, just like the amount of doors it opens up is crazy. There's a ton of opportunity out there. It's it'll be, and we're only in, I think, half a year of it being activated. Like I can't imagine what it's going to be like next year.
Yeah,
like people aren't going to be like, imagine the first kid who gets like an airline deal, like flies for free or something like that. It's going to be crazy. Like there's no rules either. It's like the Wild West. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to be smart. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's really fun. It's what's fun. It's a new era. It's fun.
That's really cool. So playing football in Nebraska, I'm sure it's been a major jump from playing sports in New York. But kind of looking back, how did being a New York State athlete shape you?
I mean, it's who I am. I'm a New York kid, 315 made. Like it's I take pride in it. You know, I mean, I take a pride in being where I'm from. You know, I think being in New York, there's not a lot of football players like we talked about, but there's a ton of athletes. So like when you're on a football field in New York, you're not really playing with the best football talent, but you're playing with, you got, so we're playing like, say, scan in football, right? You got like maybe 10 good ass lacrosse players on the field with you, maybe some hockey players that are top of the state too. Like you're playing with like the best athletes, you know what I mean? It's not just good football players. And then also like just, you know, the chip on my shoulder I got from like people saying, oh, you're from upstate New York, you're not going to make it big. Like there is talent in upstate New York. There's a lot of it. And you know, there's the card we got dealt was we got to work a little bit harder than for what we want. But, you know, I think that's what makes New York, like New York State athletes, tougher and more blue collar than a lot of other places. Because like everywhere I've been, like if you say, oh, if I like when I was down in Alabama, like they had a kid a couple years ago from somewhere up in New York, and they were like, yeah, he's a tough kid, like kid worked hard. Like everywhere you go, if they've had a kid from upstate New York, they're tough kids. They're not soft by all means. So like it's just, you know, you got to take pride in it, and there's not a lot of us. So like, I mean, when Stevie Scott was doing his thing in Indiana, I was up here trying to do my thing in Nebraska. We had then the kid, the Slovak, I think it's who is it, Sir Dennis, who's at
Dennis,
Pitt? Yeah, like there's, you can probably count like on your hands how many kids from upstate New York are playing D1 football. So like like you're representing the whole state, or you're representing your whole city, your whole area code, whatever. But yeah, no, I think being a New York athlete is definitely you know, it's definitely put a chip on my shoulder. It's definitely, I have a lot of pride where I'm from. Every game I write my area code on my arm or somewhere on me, just because I'm proud to be from New York. I'm proud to be a New York State athlete. And I'm proud to represent a lot of the kids who had the dream but maybe couldn't have made it. So I'll try to do it for them or do it with them. You know what I mean? It's there's a lot of kids who wish they had the opportunity I had. So especially in New York. So I try to, you know, do it for them too. So it's fun. It's cool to say I'm from upstate New York. That's Syracuse, to be honest. When someone asks where I'm from, I say it with pride. I say I'm from Syracuse, New York. Especially out here, because no one's from New York out here. So it's it's fun.
And what's tough is that, you know, with New York, compared to schools down south, like high schools, it's like they train all year for football. I've heard some schools, they play in the fall and they play in the spring.
It's just like college on there. They got fall ball, they got spring ball. They play in the fall. They do winter. They have winter workouts. I mean, like you know, like we had opportunities to work out in New York, but like I don't know about you, but I was always busy playing the next sport. It's just football is a different culture up in New York. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's more fun. It's down south. It's like college football in high school, but like up here, it's kind of like it's just another, you know, it's a fall sport. You play it in the fall. You know what I mean? Do I wish I maybe did a little bit more in the office? I mean, yeah, but like I'm also happy like the route I took, because like playing all those sports developed me in the athlete I am today. So like, you know, I think playing other sports benefited me way more than just specifically training for football all year round. So yeah, I mean, it's just different. It's night and day from the South to New York, but I mean, I'm still proud I played in New York. I wouldn't give up New York. I wouldn't give up playing at Westo for anything. Like I'm 5 years out of high school, but I still think about high school football all the time. Like my senior year, we obviously weren't very good with the injuries we had, but like that dome game or I still remember, I still think about it a lot. Like it was fun. Like going out in front of and like now being 5 years out of it, like you think about how cool that, like we were just like the boys from West Hill, like we were all we knew. We all just, like, you know what I mean? Like it's especially like in Syracuse with how many school districts there are, like the fact that like we were just a group of dudes from West Hill that went out and balled together. I think that's really cool. It's really special. And a small school like that. And I know we all took pride in being from West Hill, and everyone hated us, but it's fine because we didn't care. And it's just like I would get, like, I know I'm lucky enough to be able to run in front of 90,000 people every game and play in front of that type of crowd. But like I would do anything to play like one more bonfire game or like just dress up in West Hill football stuff one more time. Like it's just like that was just like it's what made me, you know what I mean? So it's like I'll always miss that, but it was fun. Yeah.
What's cool is that you take so much pride in being a New York State athlete, and what's cool is that like we take pride in you being a New York athlete going somewhere. Like when Nebraska will be on TV, I'll be like to my housemates, like I played high school football with that kid. Did he knock me out? Yeah. And then like I'll be like the same thing with like Latavius Murray. Oh, this guy grew up 10 minutes away from me.
From our house.
Chandler Jones was like 45 minutes away.
It's and like the fun thing about that is like I see it. It's cool because, but it also, it's like it's weird to see because like y'all are like the kids I went to high school with. So like I'm used to like seeing you guys like every day. Ooh, I just broke my table. Oh well. I'm like, you guys are my family back home. You know what I mean? So like it's fun to like see you guys like cheering for Nebraska, some random team out in the Midwest, because of me, which is fun. And but like I said earlier, there's a lot of kids who wish they had the opportunity to do what I'm doing, and it's cool to be able to like give them excitement just because I'm doing like what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's you get to go out and you get to play for a whole community instead of if yourself. Like I get, our coach says it all the time. Like he's like, the people, you're the name on the back of your jersey are like, it's like the people who got you here. And then he's like, but there's like underneath that name, there's like a long list of people who really did get you there. And like obviously high school community is like one big one. Like I wouldn't be anywhere who I am today without a lot of the people who I went to high school with. You know what I mean? So it's fun to see how people back home getting involved and watching games and stuff like that, and continuing to watch me play. And it's a blessing to have a community that is that supportive. So it's fun.
Yeah. So final question, looking back at everything, at your whole journey, your whole process, what do you wish you had kind of done differently, whether it's training earlier for football or maybe not committing to Syracuse so early? Like what would you have done different?
That's like, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm kind of really, the one thing about my journey is that I love my journey. You know what I mean? I take a lot of pride in what I had to do, all the extra stuff I had to do to be able to be where I'm at today. Maybe reach out to more Division I coaches like earlier, I guess, just because it would have saved me a lot of stress. It would have given me more time, but like I said, there's not really a lot I would change. I had so much fun on this journey, dude, and like the hard times were, now looking back at it, were like are what like made me more successful, because I was able to put that in my pocket and been like, I worked this much harder just to be able to get here. There's kids who come out of high school with all the talent in the world, 5-star kids, and they get it easy. They get on campus, they're given everything But like I said, like New York athletes, we got to work 10 times harder for the stuff we want, and that's what makes us so tough. So like I think, you know, knowing every day you go out to compete, and there's a person who gets everything they want, and like they're always praised, but then you got a guy who's had to work for everything he's wanted. You know what I mean? And I guarantee that kid's gonna work harder than the kid who is given everything. You know what I mean? So I don't. There's small stuff that I would change. Nothing too drastic that would change my whole path. But I'm happy with how my journey is. How I take pride in it. I love my journey. So it's been. There's not a lot I would change, if anything. To be honest with you.
Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I'd like to thank Casey Riders. Good luck with your season. I look forward to seeing you back on the field for Nebraska.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was an honor to do this with you. I've seen you grinding like this since we've been in high school. Bright future ahead for you, man.
Thank you. This is all on Know the Player, Tell the Story. I'm Dante Furco, and we'll see you next time.
See you, dog.